So we had the chance at EDF to run a project on this technology. So this is an innovative technology that we tested in our laboratory. So I will introduce you with the concept, which is very simple. It's a mechanical storage, then a few words on the proof of concept that we did in the laboratory, and then some overview on the hybridization opportunities in the future for storage system. So maybe we can see that there is a wide range of grid services that can be provided by storage systems. Of course, some of them are more energy orientated and some of them are more power focused. Depending on the profile and the request from the DSO or the TSOs, you will maybe choose one technology or another. Maybe the simple concept is there is maybe a mix that will lead the way to introduce all the grid services, but it won't be one technology for all the grid services. Maybe a mix will be the better solution. And for Flywheel technology, you will see after that, but it's very power orientated. The C rate is around 10 or 12. It means that you can provide full power during few minutes, and after that you completely discharge. So of course this kind of technology is not meant for PV daily shifting or long-term storage system. The idea is to use this very specific technology for short-term power delivery and very high power grid services. Okay, so this was the first scope of the demonstration that we did in the laboratory. So a few words about the technology. I don't know if you heard about it, but basically it's some mechanical storage. So it's like a dynamo. You high the speed of the carbon fiber rotor up to, let's say, 40,000 rounds per minute, and with vacuum inside and with some magnetic bearing, there is no constraint on the rotor, so you can store the energy like that. So for the demonstration, we used a 3.6 kilowatt-hour storage system with a maximum power of 120 kilowatts. So you can see that the ratio power on energy is very, very, very low. So it means that you can't use that full power for a very long time. But for the application that we did in the laboratory, it's not an issue, and you will see why. So the main quality of this storage, of course, is the fast time response. You can go from full power to minus power within 100 milliseconds. It means that you can react very fast, and you can provide, with a proper control, some very specific and high quality grid services. And for the demonstration, EDF R&D department developed a very specific algorithm to be able to use this equipment at its best. And for example, we'll see after that, but some of applications very easy to understand, such as PV smoothing or frequency control regulation. Okay. So maybe just an overlook of the laboratory. So this is Concept Grid, an EDF laboratory focused on smart grid solution. Basically, it's a medium voltage and low voltage network that we can use as our own. And we have some equipment that is emulating PV production, wind farms, and whatever we can do. So it means that we can perform in a real environment some demonstration on the technology. It's not simulation, it's a proof of concept. And it is really important to focus about it. So one simple concept is maybe we talked about the European market and what the challenges that we are facing in the coming years with more and more renewables. Well, we have an opportunity in a small grid such as Ireland, France, and whatever, to have. We are already facing this kind of issue because they don't have a lot of inertia. Maybe all the generators have been replaced by PV production or wind farm. So we have already a lack of inertia in this kind of grids. So the idea is to overcome this issue by adding some storage system, and with the proper control, we can make sure that the frequency will still be maintained within a reasonable range and will not lead to any issues on the grid. So basically, with the PV production, which is renewable and uncontrollable and unforeseeable, we add a flywheel technology to make sure to improve the regulation on the grid. So you have a very clear picture of what we did. Basically, in green, you can see the microgrid island without the flywheel technology, and we did some standard load fluctuation or production fluctuation, and we can see that with very low inertia and in this weak grid, the frequency can decrease to 47 Hz. So it can be an issue for factories or the customers that can lead to an issue on the grid. And by adding the flywheel technology with a proper control, we can significantly reduce this frequency deviation, and the damping time also is reduced. And well, of course, some figures adding to the screen. So the frequency is reduced by 86%, and the damping time also is reduced by almost 80%. And of course, with this kind of grid services, it's only about a matter of power and not energy store, because you want to react quickly, and after there is a strong fluctuation, basically you don't need to do anything because the grid will stabilize itself. So that's why it makes sense to use this kind of technology for this kind of application. Okay. Maybe a second use case that we performed at the laboratory. It's not the case yet in Europe, but in Puerto Rico or in Japan already, with a strong PV production already in place, they are requiring from the PV production to respect some grid codes very strong, and it means that the ramp rate can't be higher than the maximum value. Basically, at the coupling point, the production of the PV farm must stay within 10% within a minute. If you're higher than this, you will have some penalties. So they're already implementing with PV production and wind farms some storage in Japan or in Puerto Rico and other islands. And the idea is to develop the algorithm to be able to do these grid services with this kind of technology, even though we don't have a lot of energy. And you can see in orange, sorry, I'm not sure that the colors are fine, okay. So in orange, you can see the PV production itself, and in black, you can see the results at the coupling point with the action of the flywheel. And you can clearly see in the yellow window and the green window, the action of the flywheel that is reducing the fluctuation, and you can clearly see the ramp rate that we used for the demonstration, okay? So just some few figures to give you the results. So for this specific demonstration, the ramp rate was 83 watts per second, and we achieved this on the window that you can see. And if we take a look at the ramp rate during the whole process, you can see the upper limit in dot red, and the green is the result with the flywheel, and you can see that most of the time we are below the limit. And without the action of the flywheel, it's definitely not the case. So there's a strong interest to use this technology and with this algorithm to perform this integration on PV farms. And hopefully this kind of hybridization will lead to facilitate the integration on renewables in the future, even in the European market with a strong grid right now, but it will be different in the future. And maybe one last slide to conclude. As I said earlier, the flywheel technology is a very specific technology with strong mechanical endurances. In parallel with this demonstration, we performed 10,000 cycles on the flywheel just to see the aging process of it, and we saw that there was no strong deviation in the performances, which is way different than lithium battery, which has a tendency to decrease during the use of the technology. But of course, the main issue with this technology is it's energy stored. It's a very low energy, and it can be an issue, and you won't be able to perform all the grid services you want with this technology. But it's an ongoing research, but we can see already, even in the European Commission, some call for tender for new demonstration on hybridization. The idea is to decouple power from energy, just as redox flow technology can do it, but by using, let's say, lithium battery for energy storage and flywheels or ultracapacitor for the power that you can request at a very short time. And by doing this, you could optimize the sizing of the storage system depending on the application. Thank you.